Hey everyone, it's Coach Patrick here from Endurance Nation, back with another weekly coach episode. This week, I'm talking to you about open water swimming anxiety. Whether you're a beginner or you're a veteran athlete, getting back into the open water, particularly first time in the season, it brings with it a lot of just concern, anxiety, and rightly so. Moving out of your normal comfort zone into the open water brings a whole level of new sensory experiences, new challenges, new concerns, not to mention simply the logistical side of things getting there. So, we're going to break down a little bit about open water swimming anxiety, help you decode some of it, and help you get ready. So, let's start with the total novice, the first person who's getting in the water. It's your first open water swim, not only of the year, probably maybe ever, possibly even your first swim in a wetsuit, if that's a thing for you as well. Depending on where you live, maybe open water swim for you does not mean a wetsuit. I would encourage you in any open water swim case to have a wetsuit if at all possible, temperature wise, and if not, some kind of buoyancy or safety device, just so that you can go ahead and make sure that you're staying safe the entire time that you're in the open water. Obviously, swimming in open water has risks. No lifeguard typically there watching you the whole time, and you're swimming with other people. Lots of things going on. So, of course, safety, as always, is first. And that takes away a huge level of anxiety. So just get that sorted out and be done. The second piece is just to recognize all the anxiety we bring to the water in the first place. So whether you're swimming in a pool or swimming with a master's group or swimming in open water, there's just a lot of anxiety about being in the water. There's fitting in, there's going in the right place, there's following the rules, there's getting to where you want to go, there's getting the workout done you want to get done, there's getting out of here, you got to get back, you got to do all sorts of other elements. In case of open water swimming, could be traffic if you're swimming in the morning. Later on, there could be dusk or temperature changes, or other logistical challenges, right? If you're outside and not necessarily near a place where you can change or get back into your normal daily routine. So just in general, recognizing before you even step in the water, lots of anxiety just sort of happening around swimming and the coordination of swimming. All right, so understand having anxiety, totally normal. So what does it mean to have anxiety when we're actually getting in the water? There's a couple of ways we can kind of deal with this. Number one, like I said earlier, have a safety plan. Number two, swim with others. So you've got someone else minding out for you so you know where to go, what you're doing, right? Number three, like have a plan. Where are we going? We're going to swim from here, point A to point B, or point B, point A to point F. We're going to swim around the edge of a lake. We're going to swim across the lake. We're going to swim with a kayak. We're going to swim with a friend. We're going to swim with a sup, someone on a paddleboard. Whatever the plan is, know the plan. Everybody has to agree on the plan. That way, when you're swimming, if you need to stop and find someone else, you know the plan because everyone's on a plan and we have a plan, right? So really, really super important safety piece right there. Okay, great. So when you move to open water, there's a couple of things that you don't have that you have in a pool. We don't have lane lines. We don't have a black line on the bottom of your pool to follow. We don't have other people right next to you. Although when they are next to you in open water, sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable. And so we're missing a bunch of sensory cues that help us understand if we're heading in the right direction and the speed at which we're heading. Otherwise, swimming in open water is a lot like closing your eyes and swimming in the pool when you're in the lane. It's hard to stay straight. You have no idea where you are. You don't know where anyone else really is. And it's very hard to stay in your game, in your zone. So moving outside is sort of like going from learning how to drive in a parking lot to driving on the open road. There's different speeds, there's different changes, there's different stimuli. And while you've gotten used to it on the road, you're not quite used to it yet right now in open water. Totally normal. So how do we make sure you get comfortable swimming in open water when you're not used to being in the pool? Number one, you just have to kind of get to know yourself. So I always recommend a good, healthy warm up for your first or even your early open water swim. And if you're new to open water swimming, almost every single swim you'll do this year in open water. Get in the water, submerge yourself, take deep breaths, just get comfortable. Maybe even do a couple drill strokes in a place where you can stand. Your go-to drills that help you with your technique: high elbow, breaking the wrist at the catch, fist drill, fingertip drag. I have no idea what it is you're working on in the pool, but whatever it is, do those drills just for a little bit, a couple strokes. These aren't about cementing technique or some sort of strange neurological activation device. It's really just saying, hey, these are the things I do in the water that help me swim better. I'm doing them here because it's just swimming in water. I'm just in a different place. It's going to help me swim better. And you're just orienting yourself to the situation and what you want to do. Really helpful. If you ever are in a rush and you have to run into open water and just start swimming, just bad for your physiology, just bad for the warm-up, just bad for all things. So don't be the person who's in a rush. Really can't rush yourself. Just have to cut that swim maybe a little bit short, right? Okay, so now you got a little bit of warm-up in there. We're talking a little bit about technique. We have a plan already in place, right? So when we start thinking about getting into the open water swim and what our goals are, early goals, open water swimming, number one is to swim as straight as possible. It's going to be impossible. It's even impossible for more advanced swimmers to swim straight. They're just better at it because they know how to adapt. So your job is to focus on swimming as well as you can on a forward moving basis. So you feel like you're making progress. It's really hard. So sometimes you need to take a peek at the side to make sure you are making progress, or swim with someone else, that you are going places, or swim towards an object, be it something across the body of water that you feel safe about, or maybe a buoy or something floating out there that you want to swim towards. But having a sense of progress is helpful. The next piece is just understanding where you are in relation to that item. In the beginning, you're probably going to have to just swim and stop and take a look at it. If you notice yourself constantly going to one side or the other, adjust where you put your hands in. So if I'm going to left, put my right hand in a little further out to right. If I'm dragging to the right, put my left hand in a little further out on the left, right? Just get used to sort of orienting myself and understanding, hey, I can swim. I just know that I kind of veer off one side. So I offset that by just placing the opposite hand in the water a little further out. It just acts as a small rudder as I swim through the water, etc. And then your job is just to swim as easy as you can to get to the other side. If you are pushing too hard or exerting yourself, then it's possible you won't have the energy to get back to where you want to be. So I always tell people you want to negative split those open water swims, easy over, and then build that effort on the way back. So you know you can get back, you pace yourself appropriately, you've got a lot more comfort in place, etc. And overall, that's really kind of the basics of it. We orient yourself. We understand our baseline anxiety. We orient ourselves to the situation that we're in. We give ourselves a warm up. We create a plan, and we execute that plan with the top goal of being, consistent and getting to where we want to go and back again. But also just really focusing on managing our effort, being smart and tracking our progress, and setting our top goal of just figuring out that we're going where we want to go, especially when we can't see. All right. You're going to learn a ton through this process. And if you have a moment when you get back to your car or back to wherever you are, before you take off from the environment, just take some notes. You'll be amazed at what you'll look at later. It'll be a real trigger for you and a huge way of accelerating your growth in open water swimming. So do just that. Recap what you learned and make sure you make better decisions next time. So you start at step 2 or step 3 instead of step 1, right? Although we never skip the plan, we never skip the safety, we never skip that warm up. Okay. Now, those of you who are more experienced, who are an open water swimming game, who are coming back for the first time, that anxiety is still real. You may be intellectually above that anxiety, but it exists for yourself in terms of the body. And again, go right back to your safety plan and the warm up to make sure that you're totally oriented. I would take all the swim goals out, maybe even swimming this winter, early spring, and you're kind of ready and rocking and ready to go. You know your time from last year going across the lake to the tree and back again. And this time you're going to crush it. This first swim and the first 1 or 2 swims, that's not what it's about. Remember, swimming is all about efficiency. So the straighter you can go, the smoother you can go, the less effort you can expend, even for the same time, makes you faster overall. It's a triathlon, after all. That's not just a swimming race. And so spend the time to get the form nailed right. This is the time to do it when you move into the new environment. If you move right to working hard and leave all the technique behind, you're walking away from an opportunity to reinforce excellent behavior, excellent swim technique in the open water environment. And overall, that's going to make you a much more efficient swimmer and a much more efficient racer, more successful racer as well, particularly if the races that you're swimming and competing in are of longer distance. All right. So a lot of the baseline levels apply. I hope this is helpful for you. If you've got open water swim anxiety or you've got other open water swim questions, let us know on the socials. You can ask us a question. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter/X, and TikTok. If you want to ask a question, I'll be sure to see it and bring it out to you and answer it just like I am here in today's episode on open water swim anxiety. Thanks so much for checking us out. If you want to learn more about Endurance Nation, go to endurancenation.us. You can learn more about us. And if you want to, even /apply, you can apply to join the team. Thanks. Have a great one. I'll be back next week. Take care. Be safe out there. Remember, deep breath, exhale. You got this.